What's going on, everybody? Zen. This is about take 9, I think. Most of these videos I put together, and it's just one take. I just run right through it. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on today. If it's the energy or whatever, but it's taking me a little longer to construct my sentences here. Nonetheless, here's the idea, and I think it's the most important thing we can talk about. And it is this pseudo debate on salt. I've written on it, I've talked about it, and so many other people have, but there still seems to be debate occurring of what kind of salt and whether you should be consuming it. And it comes down to this one experiment, I think, that a lot of people point to, but they've again been missing the point, the okie dokie. They're involved in pseudo skepticism and pseudo debating, and people link that word up with pseudoscience and how pseudoscience and tinfoil hat wearing people and conspiracy theory and quicks and quacks, and nobody even knows quacks have to do with quicksilver or quicksilver and what that has to do with the medical industry, and that's a little fun little research you can do. Anyways, when we're presented with this information about the salts, we're led down this path of confusion, and it's very simple when you look at it. And let's just get right to it. If you look at the little lemon and potato clock on the right there, there's energy in those foods, whether or not it is below ground, above ground. It came out of that seed, which has the force of life held within it, and then it blossoms out through the sun and the water. And what occurs? This fruit, this magical, delicious fruit or vegetable, produces energy. It is energy. And you could plug this clock into it. You could plug a light into it. You can do whatever you want with it. But there's energy in there. And that is what's supplying energy for your body. Now, people go, oh, you need salt. Because, see, look at, if I put salt in this water, I can make this light bulb turn on. Certainly you can, but notice there's a battery there. People have they go, oh, you need salt. No, you need fruits and vegetables, you need food, you need energy. You could put all the salt, use this simple experiment. Consume salt as much as you can and see how quickly you die. Or just stop eating food and just eat salt. See what happens to you. It won't be it's not going to be a good ending. But if you get rid of the salt and just consume the food that has the living salts in it, things change drastically. And there's energy in there. So people get on board with this, oh, you need salt because it's conductivity, and yeah, of course it's conducting something. You can make an arc through things that are you can make an arc through these inorganic substances. What do you think happens? How do you think electricity is made? They're using a copper wire to throw something along, and this salt is an arcing point to put electricity through. Okay, but it still has to come, the energy has to come from somewhere. Well, this fruit and vegetable already has the energy in it. So if you're producing, then of course there's salt in there. Of course there's energy in there. So this idea that you need salt is bizarre. And then people go through this, oh, well, the Native Americans. No, the Native Americans didn't use salt. And then they point to Gandhi and going to the sea to get salt. There's so many cultures in India that don't use salt. You can look the world over, really look into it. You can find most cultures didn't use salt, especially if you're inland. Where were you getting this sea salt from? Go before cars and planes and the railroad. I mean, especially the railroad. There's so much to do with time and salt when it comes to the railroad. But before that, even getting into the history, they go, oh, well, people were paid in salt. Or they say, you're worth your salt. Well, yeah, but who gave people the salt? The king. And when you get into the history of this, the king was the dominator. He wasn't giving people the truth. And these kings across the lands were paying people in a monetary system that was basically siphoning energy off of the people, and then they gave them salt. It's the biggest okie dokie ever. It's the biggest trick. Salt that you want is not from the sea. It's not. You're not dig up the ground and eat the dirt. See how that works for you. See how that tastes. Take a couple spoonfuls of salt. See how that tastes. Now, there is a use for salt outside of the body, and there is a use for salt in the right quantity to get the right viscosity of salt to the right salt to water ratios so you can cleanse yourself with it. Because again, the mouth to the anus is outside of the body. You're a torus, you're a tube. But certainly we have to come to the just stop debating about it. There's nothing more to say about this when you really get it into. The salt is not your friend. The salt in the food is your friend, and but this dead salt, this coming from the water, leave it where it is. If it's in the fruit, collect it there. And this even gets into like ionization and a few other. We're not going to go that way now, though. So let's just, now that that's been kind of established, anybody want to debate that anymore? Feel free to do that on your own time. And you can feel free to go read the 10 pages that I wrote on it on my blog, zenalchemist.wordpress. This goes into like even distilled water. Distilled water, you got to put salt in it. You got to put salt in it. No, you don't. Distilled water is clean, clear water. It's doing a job that water's supposed to do. You don't put dirt. You don't want dirty air, so you don't want dirty water. Stop putting salt in your water. Drink the distilled water and get your salt from fruits and vegetables. And then you can get that from recycling your urine.